Deep in the mountains of Nagano Prefecture, Japan, the laughter of four friends echoed through a lonely alpine trail. Kenji, Emi, Rina, and Takashi. Best friends since their university days, they had taken advantage of a long weekend to attempt a serious hiking expedition. They had been walking since morning, and by the time they noticed, the sky had already shifted from orange to deep indigo. "Something's wrong." Kenji stopped and shone his flashlight on an old wooden signpost. Carved into the weathered wood was a name he didn't recognize. Naraku Valley. That place wasn't on their route. They had taken the wrong path. Turning back through the darkness was too dangerous. Then Kenji remembered something. Words spoken by the old man at the inn back in the village. "Near the signpost, there's an old ranger station. If you're ever in trouble, go there." After walking a little further, the outline of a building emerged faintly through the cedar forest. It was an old mountain ranger station. The paint was peeling and cobwebs covered the windows, but the roof was intact. Without hesitation, all four of them rushed inside. The building reeked of dust and mold, but at least it kept out the wind and rain. Outside, a storm had begun without warning. Thunder shook the mountains and sleet hammered against the window panes. Kenji gathered old display panels and broken wooden crates and managed to light the fireplace. Emi and Rina arranged their emergency candles around the room, and despite the gloom, a faint sense of calm settled over them. The time was 6:45 in the evening. "We'll head out at dawn. The path will be clearer in daylight," Takashi said. That's when Kenji grinned and leaned forward. "You know, there was this old local guy near the signpost earlier. He said something interesting. Apparently this ranger station is pretty famous around here, supposedly haunted. They say anyone who comes here never makes it back." "Stop it," Rina said, frowning. "And just a few months ago, a girl named Mileni went missing somewhere around this area and was never found." Kenji was still laughing when it happened. Bang! Every window burst open simultaneously. A violent gust tore through the room. Every candle was extinguished at once. The fireplace flame died without a sound, as if someone had simply swept it away with their hand. The air turned freezing in an instant. Their breath became white vapor. Outside, a blizzard had begun. The four of them screamed, forced the window shut, barricaded the door, and managed to relight the fireplace. One candle, then another, then another. Their hearts were hammering. Then Takashi looked around. "Where's Emi?" Emi was gone. She had been right beside them moments ago, and now she had vanished without a trace. The three of them searched the entire building, the corridors, the exhibition room, the back storage room, the bathroom. Nothing. Takashi was heading back toward the main hall when he heard it, the frantic sound of someone running behind him. "Emi!" He chased the sound, outside. Through the blizzard, he could see a figure. "Emi, wait!" The figure turned around. Takashi lost his voice. It was his own face staring back at him. Same features, same build. But beneath its eyes were deep, hollow black pits, and its skin was peeling away. Strips of it hanging and falling, like someone had flayed it alive. Takashi stumbled backward, nausea rising in his throat. Meanwhile, inside the building, Kenji was walking down the corridor when he shone his flashlight on his own hands and felt his stomach drop. Deep red bite marks covered both of his hands. Multiple wounds as though a large animal had clamped down on him repeatedly. Yet he felt no pain. He hadn't even noticed them forming. "What the hell is this?" His scream brought Takashi and Rina rushing into the main hall. But before either of them could look at Kenji's hands, they both froze, staring at Rina's face. Something was moving beneath the skin of Rina's left cheek. Whatever it was crawled beneath the surface, making her cheek bulge and writhe in grotesque, undulating waves. "Rina, your face!" Rina touched her cheek and crumpled with a shriek of agony. In the next instant, whatever was inside her spread, racing to her neck, her forehead, her jaw. Her entire face turned black within seconds. She collapsed to the floor, screaming. The three of them bolted for the front door in a blind panic. They kicked it open and burst outside. Something fell from above and crashed into the snow directly in front of them. It was Emi's body. As they stood there staring down at her corpse, a man stepped out of the darkness. He was dressed entirely in black, his face hidden behind a white mask that resembled a traditional Japanese no mask. In his hand was a large axe. The three of them couldn't even scream. The man raised the axe. They woke up. The fireplace was burning quietly. The candles were flickering. All four of them were sitting around the fireplace, Emmy included. "Saidi, what time is it?" Takashi asked in a trembling voice. Kenji looked at his watch. 6:45 p.m. No one could speak. Overwhelmed with panic, the four of them immediately began searching the building. When they pushed open the door to a small back room, they saw it. A notice board covering an entire wall. Dozens of faded photographs of missing persons were pinned to it. Among them were photographs of all four of them. The date printed on their photos was 8 days from now. And in the corner of the wall, written in red ink, were the words, "If you want to live, survive until dawn." The moment they understood what those words meant, something came crashing down from above, and the darkness took them. They woke up at 6:45. Again and again and again, they died and came back and died again. Once the masked man split them apart with his axe in the courtyard. Once they fled into the forest outside and were swallowed whole by an enormous black shape, something far larger than any human, moving between the trees like a living shadow. Once the floor of the building gave way beneath them, and they plunged into a pitch-black pit below. Once they simply woke up already frozen solid, the candles long dead and the fireplace cold. Every time the clock reset to 6:45, no matter how far they ran, death found them before dawn. Not one of them had survived the night, not once. And then, 8 days later, a news broadcast aired across Nagano Prefecture. 4 hikers reported missing during a mountain trek. Search continues with no leads. Kenji, Takashi, Emmy, Rina, 4 young people who walked into the old ranger station in Naraku Valley and never walked back out. Clover and the missing sister. But the story doesn't end there. Weeks later, a young woman was making her way up the mountain trail in Nagano. Her name was Clover, and she was looking for her missing sister, Mileni. She had followed every lead, traced every rumor, and now she stood before the old ranger station. She paused at the entrance and peered into the darkness inside. Deep within, the red glow of a fireplace flickered. The time was 6:43 p.m. Clover took one step inside. The door slowly swung shut behind her.